Wasabi guys, welcome back to another Market Watch video for the week of March 24th. Going over some gainers and some losers. And as always, if you have not already, please do subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. We just got past 33,000. That's about a third of the way to 100,000. That is incredible. Thank you all so much. First one we have to talk about is pretty cool, and you're seeing some of these Strive cards go up in price, probably because of Hinata. Launch the fleet. It costs 1 more to cast for each target beyond the first, and until end of turn, any number of target creatures each gain whenever this creature attacks. You put a 1/1 white soldier creature token onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. After reading it, it doesn't seem like it's something Hinata decks want. So I think it's more of a modern card. Maybe there's some kind of playability with this in other formats. But then again, the price jump isn't really anything super crazy. Percentage-wise, it is. I mean, you're talking about something that for a long time was under $1. Now you're seeing it sell around $3. That's crazy. And up next, we have Lignify. Really interesting to see how people deal with problems in not just Commander, but any format. Used to be destroying is great, but if you can exile, it's even better. Well, in Commander, if you're able to throw something like Lignify onto a creature, if that creature is a commander especially, that might in some cases be better than just simply getting rid of it and having it go back to the command zone. So this turns the creature it's enchanting into a 0/4 tree folk with no abilities. Song of the Dryads I think is a better alternative because turning something into a land makes it harder to deal with. They can't just simply board wipe and get rid of that. A board wipe would get rid of the creature, getting rid of this in the process, so it's obviously not as good as that. But to see it sell around $2, again, this is another card under $1 for almost its entire history. It has been reprinted too, so I guess people just really want budget alternatives. Next up we have Revenge of Ravens. I love this card. This is from Throne of Eldraine. It's now going up. We're seeing it get closer to $3. Another uncommon that's going to be under $1 for the most part. Black has a lot of these cards where it's all about discouraging your opponents, keeping them from attacking you. And there are better ways of doing that than simply draining some life, and in some cases it won't be enough to really make a difference. But the fact that this does trigger for each creature that can attack you, I think is big points in its favor. But so far we've been talking about cheap cards that maybe haven't seen a lot of play, and they're going from under $1 to getting close to $3. Let's talk about one that I've talked about before on this channel, Whirlwind of Thought. This 3-color enchantment that I thought would have done a lot better when it came out. I mean, we're talking about whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get to draw a card. I know it's very mana specific, but that ability is insane. And there's no doubt, we've talked about Hinata already. That's really, I think, why this is seeing some interest. You're now seeing it sell above $3, which is crazy. And if you see the average is still lower than the market, that's really an indication of recent interest, where not everyone who's listing these is aware of exactly what they're going to be worth. You know, they're not paying attention to mtgstocks.com every day. They're not seeing what other sellers are doing, so they're keeping it down below. That's why you see sometimes, if it's really early, the average listing price will still be lower than the average market because the buyers are early on this one. A lot of people want this card, and that's all it really took, was one viable commander that wasn't frickin' Narset. We had Kaikar, but, you know, Kaikar was kind of already good for other reasons, not just spellslinger. Hinata makes casting a lot of spells very easy. Next up, we have a card, Kim. We're going to be talking about Hinata here because Hinata is probably the sole reason why a lot of these are going up. Twin Flame, we talked about it in the combo short, and I've had some people comment saying, isn't Dualcaster Mage a quicker combo? I said, yeah, sure, but Dualcaster Mage can't be your commander. With Twin Flame, you have a lot of creatures that can bring back instants and sorceries from the graveyard. So Twin Flame and any one of those creatures in combination with our commander, because all we really have to do is get Twin Flame in most situations. It's just going to make that combo so much easier. And you're not going to have to spend a lot of mana to do it either. So it's a great card. I don't think it's been reprinted, so $5 I think is appropriate, especially now that it's at the center of a combo. And next up, I think this is one of our last gainers, but we have to talk about it. This has gone up over the past year, Mana Bond from Exodus. This is not a reserve list card, but as you can see, it's kind of gone up and down. Went up during the great spike of 2021, where a lot of these cards that even if they're not reserve list, they haven't been printed too often, so people go for the oldest print and hold on to them. But as you can see, this is where you need to understand the difference between the average and the market. The average is the average list price. That's what the seller wants to get out of it. The market is what the average person is paying for it. So people are opting for lightly played, moderately played. If it saves them some money, that's what that counts towards. I forget the other source, but I know TCG players where the majority of this information is coming from. So just know when you see that blue line indicates the average. The market is indicated by the less blue line. It's still kind of blue, but in contrast, it looks more like a white line. That is much lower. That's about $8. So going back to last year, it was also close to $8, but then it got rejected, went back down close to $5, and now it's back up to 8. Talked about it last week with resistance levels. I think this is a resistance level for Mana Bond. If it can get past 8 and hold, provided we don't see a reprint anytime soon. This is a really weird card. I don't know if we could see above 10. Now what the card does, you might be curious because I was too. Haven't really seen it in any decks. During your discard phase, you may choose to put all land cards from your hand into play. If you do, you discard the rest of your hand. So if you're playing one of those decks and you just have a ton of lands, like you're playing 40 lands or more, you're gonna have to slowly play them turn by turn, or you could just say screw it and put them all out there. I think this is very fun if you have a lot of landfall triggers, but other than that, it's kind of the burgeoning problem. Just because you have a way to play a bunch of lands quickly doesn't always mean you have things to do with them. But considering that's happening for only 1 green mana, it's a big reason why people are still interested in it. And I lied, we have one more card to talk about. We have Dark Sphere, one of the most noticeable winners here the past week, and it doesn't really do anything super crazy. It's a 0 mana artifact from the dark. You sacrifice it to prevent half the damage done to you by a single source rounded down. This might be beneficial to you if you're playing something like a group slug strategy, where you have cards that deal a lot of damage to each player, which would include you. So if it's something like each player's dealt damage equal to half their life total, something like that, I could see this maybe having an impact. I don't know, this might be relevant in other formats, that's always a possibility, but the market price is up around 10 and it's over 10 now. Listing again, sellers are trying to push it up higher, trying to get more money out of it. I don't know if it's going to be a $20 card, but it looks pretty good so far. I mean, pretty much double the value here just over the past couple months. Now we get to talk about some losers here, and this one's a little bit painful. We have Smuggler's Copter from Kaladesh. Not only did it experience the banhammer almost immediately, I mean, this was one of the biggest disappointments of Standard back then, was that every deck played Smuggler's Copter because there was just no reason not to. It was the best card draw. If your deck could synergize with a graveyard, it was extra powerful. Artifact decks loved it, of course. And now it has a reprint in the Commander product. So yeah, it wasn't going to hold value for too long. We're talking about a card that at one point was actually worth something. But now you could see over the years, it did spike around 2019, 2020. Then it came right back down. I have no idea why that happened. Probably modern, but it's just been on a steady decline. Some promise going into this set, I'm sure, after finding out that there would be vehicles, a lot of vehicle support, but with a reprint, that really wasn't going to help the value. The last card we have to talk about is Goshintai of Life's Origin. And this is predictable. I mean, this happens with Commander options all the time. We're seeing a market value of around $13. Average over the past month has been around 20. But that's okay. The first couple weeks, everyone's excited to play a new option, and then they get a little bored of it, you know? It's just like with any other Commander option. Once you experiment with it, once you do pretty much everything you can with that Commander, all of the shrines, it starts to lose its luster. It's kind of the situation that you see though with tribes, whether it be those shrine creatures, slivers. People are really excited about them at first, and then it wears off. So you all probably should have guessed that this was going to happen. It wasn't going to hold on to $20, $25 for long. It's a cool commander, but it's not the kind of commander that you're going to mix it up, you're going to change the strategy. No, it's pretty much anchored to shrines and at the very least enchantments. So anyway, that was the market watch for March 24th, 2022. Let me know what you think about the upcoming sets, Streets of New Capenna, whatever that's called. That's right around the corner. Can't wait to be talking about Commander options from that set. Void here signing off. I will see you all next time.